never used to be afraid of walking home alone at night. I grew up in a small town where people left their doors unlocked, where kids biked down empty roads after midnight in the summer just because they could. Fear to me was something that belonged in movies, not in my reality. That all changed one night 2 years ago, when I decided to take the shortcut under the old railway bridge. I was 19 at the time, freshly out of high school, working late shifts at a diner on the edge of town. The hours were long, the pay was crap, but it was money in my pocket. Most nights my friend Daniel would drive me home, but that night he was out sick. I didn't have a car yet, so I decided to walk. It wasn't a big deal. The diner was only about 2 miles from my place. I'd done the walk before, though rarely that late. The main road stretched out forever, lit by tall, buzzing streetlights every few hundred feet. It was safe, boring, predictable, but halfway home there was a quicker path, a trail that cut through the trees and came out by the old railway bridge. If you passed under it and followed the creek, you'd shave a good 15 minutes off your walk. I'd used it in the daytime plenty of times. At night? Not so much, but I was tired and my feet hurt, and the thought of crawling into bed even 15 minutes earlier sounded worth it. So I took the turn. The air was cooler beneath the trees, the night heavier. The gravel crunched under my sneakers and the smell of damp earth hung thick in the air. My phone was at 12%, so I kept it in my pocket, saving the battery for emergencies. I didn't need music. I just wanted to get home. I didn't notice anything strange at first. It was quiet, sure, but quiet was normal out there. The creek whispered somewhere off to my right, and occasionally a branch cracked under some small animal. Nothing unusual. It wasn't until I reached the bridge that I felt it. The railway bridge loomed overhead, a skeleton of rusted iron beams and wooden planks. By day it looked abandoned. By night it looked like something out of a nightmare. The underside stretched like a yawning mouth, swallowing what little moonlight there was. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, not mine. They were faint, echoing off the stone supports of the bridge. Shuffling just out of sight, I froze. Hello? I called out before I could stop myself. My voice cracked against the night. Silence. I laughed under my breath, embarrassed. Probably just some animal scuttling around. Raccoon, maybe. Possum. My brain was just spooking me because it was dark. I kept walking, but slower this time. My eyes darted left and right, trying to pierce the shadows. Then I heard it again. Footsteps. Definitely footsteps. They matched mine, but just half a beat off. When I stopped, they stopped. When I took one tentative step forward, I swore I heard one more crunch of gravel in reply. The hair on my arms rose. Is someone there? I asked again, louder this time. Nothing. My phone burned in my pocket. I wanted to pull it out, shine the flashlight, but some stubborn part of me didn't want to look scared. Didn't want to admit I was scared, so I kept walking. Faster now, the bridge stretched forever. My footsteps echoed sharp against the stone, and somewhere behind me, softer, slower, the other steps followed. I snapped my head back. Nothing. Just empty darkness. I turned back around and nearly screamed. A figure stood under the bridge, about 30 feet ahead, half hidden in shadow. At first I thought it was a trick of the light, but no. There was someone there, tall, thin, motionless. Their head was tilted, just slightly, like they were studying me. My stomach dropped. "Hey," I called out, forcing my voice to sound steady. "You need something?" The figure didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there. I swallowed hard. I could turn around, go back the long way, but that meant passing whatever had been behind me. My gut twisted at the thought, so I walked forward, one step, then another. The figure didn't move, didn't even flinch. As I got closer, I could make out more details. Baggy clothes, pale skin that almost glowed in the dark. Their face looked wrong somehow, like it didn't fit. I slowed down, heart hammering. "Look, man, I'm just trying to get home, okay?" Still nothing. I pulled out my phone, 9%. I swiped up, turned on the flashlight, and aimed it straight at them. The beam cut through the dark, and there was no one there. Empty space. I blinked. My throat went dry. I could have sworn. A sound behind me. I whipped around, light shaking in my hand. The figure stood 10 feet away. Closer now, head still tilted, face pale and wrong. I screamed and bolted. The gravel slipped under my shoes as I tore down the trail, lungs burning, every muscle screaming at me to move faster. The flashlight beam swung wildly, catching glimpses of trees, the creek, the jagged stones of the bridge. Behind me, footsteps. Heavy, fast, too fast. I didn't dare look back. Every instinct told me not to, just run, just get out. The trail twisted left, then right, my chest on fire, my vision tunneling. I burst out of the trees onto the main road, nearly collapsing onto the asphalt. Streetlights buzzed overhead like guardian angels. I turned around, gasping, the flashlight beam slicing back into the woods. Empty. No footsteps. No figure. Just silence. I stood there for what felt like forever, my whole body trembling, eyes locked on the trail. Nothing came out. Eventually, I forced myself to keep moving, sprinting the rest of the way home, every sound making me flinch. When I finally stumbled into my house, I locked every door, every window, and collapsed on the floor, trying to convince myself it was just exhaustion. Just my mind playing tricks, but I know what I saw, I know what I heard, and sometimes, when I'm walking home late, I swear I can still hear it. That half beat of footsteps, just behind me, waiting for me to take the shortcut again. When I left for college, I wasn't afraid of being on my own. If anything, I was excited. Finally, independence. No curfews, no parents hovering over me. Just freedom. My first year, I got assigned to a small off-campus apartment. It wasn't anything special. A little 2-bedroom place with creaky floors and thin walls, about a 10-minute walk from campus. The university had run out of dorm rooms, so they partnered with private rentals nearby. My lease technically said I'd have a roommate. The second bedroom was already furnished and the rent was split evenly, even though I hadn't met anyone yet. The landlord told me she'd let me know when someone moved in. That was in August. By September, I was still living alone. Or at least, I thought I was. At first it was small things, barely noticeable. I'd wake up and find the bathroom door shut when I was sure I'd left it open. The kitchen light would be on when I got home, though I swore I'd turned it off. Little things that could easily be chalked up to me being distracted. But then food started going missing. I'd buy groceries on Sunday, and by Wednesday, half of it was gone. Milk cartons emptied, cereal boxes lighter than they should be. I started labeling everything with a marker just to be sure I wasn't losing my mind. At first, I thought maybe I was eating more than I realized. But then I started hearing things. Footsteps at night, soft ones, almost careful, like someone trying not to wake me. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, heart pounding as the creaks moved across the floor outside my door. Once I swore I heard the bathroom sink turn on for a few seconds, then shut off again. The next morning, the towel was damp. I started locking my bedroom door at night. One evening, I came back from class and found the living room window open. The curtain fluttered in the breeze. I never opened that window. It stuck too much, and I didn't like the idea of bugs flying in. That's when I called the landlord. "Are you sure you don't have another tenant with a key?" I asked her. She paused. "No one's been moved in yet. That room is vacant." Why? I hesitated. I didn't want to sound paranoid. I keep thinking someone's been here when I'm not home. She gave a polite, awkward laugh. Old apartments like that, they creak. Drafts move doors around. You'll get used to it. I wanted to believe her. But then came the night I woke up at 3:17 a.m. to the sound of humming. It was faint, almost like someone whispering a song under their breath. It came from the other bedroom, the supposedly empty bedroom. I froze under my covers, every muscle tense. My phone lay on the nightstand. I didn't dare move to grab it. The humming went on for maybe a minute, then stopped. Silence. The next morning, I forced myself to check. The second bedroom door was shut. I stood there for a long time before finally gripping the knob and twisting it open. The room was empty. Bed neatly made. Desk untouched. Closet closed. But the smell hit me immediately. It wasn't strong, but it was there. The faint, stale scent of sweat and something sour, like clothes that hadn't been washed in weeks. I stepped in, my skin crawling. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I opened the closet, empty, no clothes. No shoes, nothing. I shut the door quickly and backed out. That night, I slept with the light on. Things escalated from there. I'd leave my backpack by the couch, come back an hour later, and find it leaning against the wall instead. My toothbrush would be damp when I hadn't used it. Once I swore I saw the shape of someone sitting on the couch in the dark when I came in. But when I turned on the light, it was empty. By October, I'd stopped using the living room altogether. I'd come home, go straight to my bedroom, and lock the door. I started telling friends about it, half joking, like it was some weird haunting. Most of them laughed it off. A couple said I was just stressed, but one friend, Sarah, didn't laugh. "Do you want me to stay over one night?" she asked. I almost said no, embarrassed. But then I thought about the humming, the damp towels, the missing food. "Yes," I said. Sarah came over on a Friday night. We ordered pizza, stayed up late watching movies, and tried to pretend I wasn't half expecting something to happen. Around 2 a.m., we turned off the TV and headed to my room. Sarah crashed on a sleeping bag on the floor. Sometime after 3, I woke up. The room was dark, lit only by the faint glow of my alarm clock. Sarah breathed softly from the floor, and then I heard it. The humming. Low, steady, coming from the other bedroom. I held my breath, eyes wide open in the dark. Sarah stirred, then whispered, "Do you hear that?" My stomach dropped. She heard it too. We sat there frozen, listening. The humming went on for maybe 30 seconds. Then it stopped. Sarah whispered, "There's someone here." I wanted to deny it, laugh it off, but my throat was too tight. We waited, every sound amplified in the silence. Then suddenly a floorboard creaked in the hallway, right outside my door. Sarah scrambled up and grabbed her phone. I grabbed mine too, dialing 911 with shaking fingers. By the time the police arrived, the apartment was silent. They searched everywhere, the living room, the bathroom, the second bedroom. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. No footprints. Nothing missing. One of the officers gave me a look like I'd wasted their time. "Probably just a dream," he said, but Sarah had been awake. She'd heard it too. I wasn't crazy. 2 nights later, I woke to the sound of my bedroom door handle turning, slowly, deliberately. The lock held, thank God. But the handle kept twisting back and forth for nearly a minute. Then it stopped. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I called the landlord and begged to be moved. She said she didn't have any other units open, so I stayed. The semester dragged on and the activity never stopped. Sometimes it was footsteps. Sometimes it was humming. Once, I swear I woke up and saw the faint outline of someone standing in the corner of my room, watching me. When I blinked, they were gone. I stopped inviting people over. I stopped telling anyone. What was the point? By December, I barely left my room at all. Then one night I came home late from studying. I walked past the second bedroom door and froze. It was open, just a crack. For weeks I'd left it shut. Always shut, but now it hung open an inch, the dark gap staring back at me. I stood there, heart pounding, then forced myself to push it open. The room was empty, but the bed was unmade. And on the desk, written in dust, were 3 words, "Still living here." I moved out the next week. The landlord never believed me. My parents thought I'd had some kind of breakdown from stress, but Sarah never doubted me. She still asked me about it sometimes. If I ever found out who it was, what it was, I always tell her the same thing: I don't know, I never had a roommate, at least not one who was supposed to be alive. Most people think phones are lifelines, a way to feel safe, connected, a quick call to a friend or to 911 and suddenly you're not alone. But for me, my phone became the thing I feared most. It started with a call at 2:37 a.m. I remember the exact time because I looked at the clock the moment it rang. Who calls at that hour? I thought maybe it was my mom or maybe an emergency. But when I answered, there was nothing. No voice. Just static. I muttered, "Hello?" a few times, then hung up. Shook it off. Wrong number, bad connection. I rolled over and went back to sleep. But the next night, at 2:37 a.m. on the dot, my phone rang again. Same thing, static. I felt a flicker of unease but tried to laugh it off. Some kind of prank. By the third night, I wasn't laughing. The calls always came at exactly 2:37 every night. If I answered, it was static. If I didn't, it would ring and ring until voicemail picked up. But no message was ever left. I blocked the number. Didn't matter. The call still came, showing up as unknown. I changed my number. Didn't matter. By then, I'd stopped sleeping. I'd lie awake, staring at my phone, dreading the minute hand creeping closer to 2:37. And when it hit, like clockwork, the screen would light up. every single night. One night, I let it ring. I don't know why. Morbid curiosity, maybe. It rang 11 times before stopping. I exhaled, relieved, until I heard something that made my blood run cold. The voicemail notification. My stomach turned as I pressed play. At first, static, then faintly a whisper, so faint I almost missed it. My name. They whispered my name. I didn't sleep at all after that. The next morning, I showed the voicemail to my friend, hoping for reassurance. He laughed. "Dude, that's nothing. Probably some app prank." But his face changed when I told him about the exact timing. Every night. 2:37. "Creepy coincidence," he said, though he didn't sound convinced. I stopped talking about it. People already thought I was paranoid. The calls continued. At first, it was just my name whispered through static. But then the messages grew longer. They described what I was doing, what I was wearing, where I was. One night I listened, heart pounding, as the voice whispered, "Red shirt." Sitting up in bed, lights on, I was wearing a red shirt. Sitting up in bed, lights on. I dropped the phone like it burned me. How could they see me? I checked every window, every corner of my room, but found nothing. Still, the calls kept coming. By now, I dreaded nightfall. I'd sit awake until 2:37, phone in hand, heart pounding, waiting for it to light up. One night, I decided to record it. Proof. Sure enough, 2:37 came. The call lit up my screen. Unknown. I answered, put it on speaker, and set the recorder on. Static filled the room. Then, "Look behind you." I froze. Slowly, my head turned. Nothing. Empty room. But when I looked back at the phone, the call was still connected. The voice whispered again, "Closer than you think." I hung up, heart racing, and deleted the recording without even listening to it again. I couldn't bring myself to save it. I went to the police, showed them my call log, explained everything. The officer barely looked up from his desk. "It's spam. Spoofed numbers. Happens all the time." "But the timing," I insisted. "It's every night the same time. They know things about me. They know what I'm doing." He sighed, clearly done with me. "Change your number. Turn off your phone at night. That's all you can do." I left feeling more alone than ever, so I started turning off my phone. At first, it worked. No ringing, no static, no whispers. I finally slept. Until the third night. At exactly 2:37 a.m., my phone, powered off, lit up. The screen glowed bright in the dark, vibrating in my hand. Incoming call. Unknown. I dropped it in terror, heart slamming against my ribs. The screen kept glowing, the vibration rattling against my nightstand. Finally, it stopped. I sat in silence, shaking, staring at the dead phone. Then the voicemail notification appeared. How? It was off, hands trembling. I powered it back on. There it was, one new message. Static crackled, then a voice clearer than before. "You can't turn me off." After that, things got worse. The voice grew louder, sharper. Sometimes it laughed, a low, rasping sound that made my skin crawl. Sometimes it whispered things I didn't understand, words in a language I didn't know. But always at the end, it said my name. Always my name. I tried everything. New phones, new carriers. Even moving apartments didn't matter. At 2:37 a.m., the calls always found me. One night, I decided to confront it. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I thought if I faced it, it would stop. At 2:37, the phone rang. I answered, gripping it tight, my voice shaking. "What do you want from me?" Silence. Then slowly, the voice whispered, "Open the door." My blood ran cold. I hadn't told anyone, but I was sitting on the floor against my bedroom door, barricading it with a chair. My hand tightened on the phone. "No," I whispered. The voice laughed, low and guttural. Then the sound of knocking echoed through the speaker. But it wasn't just on the phone, it was real. Someone, something, knocked on my door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. I sat frozen, unable to breathe, unable to move. When I finally found the courage to yank open the door, nothing, empty hallway. I don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe to warn someone. Maybe to prove to myself I'm not insane. The calls still come every night, 12:37 a.m. I don't answer anymore, but I still listen. The phone still rings, and sometimes I hear it, the faintest whisper bleeding through the static. Even without picking up, always the same thing, always my name. And last night, it said something new, not just my name, not just laughter, it said soon.